Hello, everyone. Welcome to eBizChat, where it's all about business. I'm Rick Zanotti, and I'm joined today by my good friend and co-host, Dr. Susan Nash. Hey, Susan, how are you?
Good. Feeling very businesslike in front of like
We're
books.
very businesslike, and that's good. And in studio, we've got Harold Muliati. He's our video producer. And we've got a great guest today. We've got Mo Abersheid, who is with RockNTix. That's a great name. I love that name. Anyway, he is the founder of RockNTix, which also includes RockNTix Live and Rockin' Merch for merchandise. And he'll be joining us in a moment. Here we go.
More and more people are working remotely every day. Your company may already be remote. You may be new to working remotely, whether you're a worker or a manager. Working remotely has some challenges and some very good points to it as well. In our training, we'll make sure that you learn how to work remotely, how to build trust, how to do all the things that make remote working successful. And we'll also talk about some of the pitfalls and what to avoid. Working remotely for workers and managers. It's our new course on Udemy. Thanks.
This show is sponsored by Relate Corporation. Digital learning development, media development, corporate video, management consulting, and more. Visit us at www.relate.com. Thanks.
And we are back, and in that center position of power, as we like to call it, we've got Mo Abersheid. Hi, Mo. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Now, Mo and I know each other for about 17 years already. So we've known each other for a long time, and I've seen Mo do some pretty interesting things in his life. And I think this one, Mo, you built the cake, you made a beautiful cake, and you're going to start eating it too. You did a great job on this. Tell us a little bit about RockNTix and how it came to be.
Well, basically, I created RockNTix because it really was born from my love of live music and going to see shows. And so basically, I noticed I'd worked at some venues and worked the door and helped put the event together. And I noticed that there was a big gap in the market where people weren't using online ticketing. And I felt that there was a gap to be filled. I mean, I think there's a huge underserved market or even ignored market by some of the larger, ticketing companies. So I thought, why not start RockNTix and get, put the power into the event producer's hand where they can sign up and start selling tickets online and pre-sell their events actually and get the lion's share of the money in their pockets. We only charge a $1 fee for ticket buyers and 0 fees for anyone to sign up and start selling tickets. And it's open up to bands or anyone who actually wants to sell tickets to either a small event, a one-off event, so wineries or a wine tasting, a little art gallery, a small venue. So that's kind of where it got started. And when COVID hit, of course, I don't know if you want me to go ahead and pivot into that, but when COVID hit, we were actually about to begin a large marketing campaign for the ticketing site, but when COVID hit, there were no events going on. So I thought, okay, live streaming. So it seemed like a natural progression. So I created RockNTix Live, which provides a site for people to go to and upload videos, live stream, share music, sell music. And the thing is that artists and musicians, DJs can go on there and live stream, and we have an easy tipping function where people can tip you live, and you can earn an instant income from your art. And we also have free channels and subscriber channels, so people can subscribe to your free channel to see what you're putting out there, and then they can also subscribe to your bonus channel to get the bonus content, and they pay you a monthly fee for that. And once again, this is all about the artist providing a fresh and holistic approach to artists and DJs and musicians and venues where they get the lion's share of the money. And that's basically how it evolved. And after that, I created Rockin' Merch, which is officially licensed merchandise. I signed a deal where they I sell officially licensed merchandise like Iron Maiden t-shirts, Led Zeppelin, Rancid, Green Day, you name it, it's on there. And then hopefully other bands will be adding those bands as well as other bands come along.
And it's interesting because a lot of people who are not in the industry or maybe don't follow bands that much or just aren't familiar with it, merchandise is how a lot of the bands survive, especially smaller bands growing up, kind of getting into it all. You know, when they go out on the road, they don't make a lot of money on a lot of those venues, but they sell merchandise and that gets them going. And so that's, you know, I really like what you've done. And, you know, Susan and I are both we like music. We love music of just about any kind. As many weekends or many days we'll talk about music we like. You know, we'll just send each other emails and samples of things we like. And what I like about what you've done here is that you're not just focused on the big stuff, but it's also the little stuff which gets no attention. And it to me, it's a service to the whole industry.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many smaller venues that can't be, you know, they just think it's too hard to sign up with some of these other sites to sell tickets, or they don't think it's worth their time. And there's so many fees involved for the ticket buyer and sometimes the ticket seller. So I try to make a process where it's so streamlined that you can just sign up and immediately start selling tickets. You know, you can have an event page and where you put your videos, you can sell music on your event page, and you have pictures, there's a little map to the event, and people can buy tickets very simply. And they ticket buyers only pay a $1 fee. So there's nothing prohibits people from buying tickets. And this is what I found was when I was so broke, and I wanted to go see a band and they were only charging $10, but when I went online to buy a ticket, the ticket fee would be like another $4 or $5. And that was expensive, prohibitively expensive to me because I couldn't afford the show. And, you know, after that $10, another 40% fee. So that's why I said only charge $1 flat fee, regardless of the price of a ticket. You know, a lot of these other sites charge you incrementally based on the price of the ticket. So if you buy a $100 ticket, they're going to charge you $25 or whatever that amount is. Where we're only still going to charge $1. So it's not going to keep people away from coming to your show or your venue.
That's a really good, okay. I'm so interested because there are a couple of things. The company that I work for, organization, is a not-for-profit. 90% or 80% of our revenue has come from conferences, workshops, face-to-face things. So we use our own booking things like we buy online, but sometimes in putting together some workshops or low-key things, I used EventBrite. And EventBrite's great if it's free. I mean, free is free. It has limited functionality. But like you're saying, if you use EventBrite, then once you start charging anything, unless I, the individual or the company, pay a big amount every year, I have to pay, I think it is a percentage, and it gets to be kind of pricey. And then the other thing too, it's not so easy to do merchandise or just go over to the live stream. So, I mean, I like the way they've got everything integrated.
Thank you very much. And that's the thing. And also when people buy a ticket, it's automatically issued and you get that money straight into your PayPal account. So other places like EventBrite and other ticketing, as far as I understand that they still do this, they hold on to your money in escrow. And you have to wait until you get that money. And so this is...
And they send it...
I beg your pardon?
Yes, they do. I'm sorry, I didn't need to jump in. And they send a check, which is a big headache.
Yeah. And that's the thing. See, this is the beauty of RockNTix, because someone can buy a ticket, you immediately get that money in your PayPal account, and you have that money in case you need early funds to help produce the event. Because a lot of people, musicians who go on the road and they don't have gas money. I mean, that's an issue. And so this way they can pre-sell some of their events and say, hey, we're going to be here in Oklahoma or wherever, and people can buy tickets in advance, and they have that money in their PayPal account, and they can get there and do whatever it is they need to do to get there and set up, etc. So it really is a win-win, and we just help facilitate that all as opposed to getting involved in the transaction as such.
But what I really like about what you've done is also you've got your heart in the right place with with the people running the events, the musicians, whatever event it is. You remember what it's like to not have the money and go to these things, and the bands or whoever's doing events many times doesn't get the money, and like people like EventBrite or whatever, they're doing the typical bank float. They just float the money for as long as they can. They're making money off your money, and nobody else is benefiting from it. So this, I really like this because it's a much more holistic approach to getting a ticket, getting an event done, getting merchandise, and you're not keeping people's money. You're very openly just saying, hey, it's your money, have at it. So that's good.
And even Amazon. Oh, go ahead. I was going to say about merching. Yeah, like Amazon pays out, I don't know if it's quarterly or something. So they definitely hold on to the money for a while.
And if you don't make $100, you don't even get paid. You have to wait. So that's another thing. And you know, when you're on the road or when you're just trying to do a small, $50 is a lot of money. So
yeah, and that's exactly right, because I mean, especially that's why we gear it to smaller venues and independent bands, because I mean, none of these folks have money. I mean, they don't have huge stacks of cash to to help get them through shows and set up these events. So it's really important to get the cash into their hands as quickly as possible. So this way, when somebody buys a ticket, they have the cash in hand.
Yeah. It's really good. By the way, I did go on the streaming site. Mo sent me something the other day. It was a Latin American DJ from Ecuador, and he was streaming live. I felt like I was listening to the radio in Ecuador. It was so clean. It was really good, and that's pretty cool. I know, Susan, you and I both like a lot of the Latin American music. We like, it's just an interest we have. We like that, and you can find all sorts of stuff that's streaming live from a lot of different companies or countries. And Mo, this is really unlimited. This is worldwide, isn't it?
Absolutely. And so, for example, this DJ was just immediately signed up and immediately went live. And a lot of these people have a really professional setup with lights and, transitions and all kinds of things. And I tipped a little tip. And so, I mean, it's a real simple tipping function. You can buy tokens through, as soon as you click to buy, it sends you to your PayPal and adds them to your account. And you can tip right into the chat, and they see that you've tipped them. You can make a request, or however, they want to handle it. They can ask if a musician's on there saying, I'm taking requests today for $5 a request, or however they want to do it. And this way they can earn an instant income right at that moment. And certainly it's not just for musicians. Certainly it's worldwide. And it's not just for musicians, but it's also for a yoga teacher or a tarot card reader, or, any of these folks that stream live anywhere can actually earn tips through RockNTix live.
So
and it can also
I've never tried it. Yeah, I've never tried it, but I've heard that super chats or some of those things are like that that's more of a chat function. Like
the YouTube super chats? Yeah.
Yeah, I see every single super chat I've ever listened to. It sounds like I don't know anybody would tip anybody because they're so distracted and it's not a very good performance. Yeah. But at any rate, my question is about the merch. So my question is, how many T-shirts can a person actually have? And so, can people sell? Is that the only thing that people actually sell, or are there other things that really sell well?
Well, the Rockin' merch site, we have everything. I mean, I have a licensing deals with the companies that represent these huge bands, and we sell everything: T-shirts, hoodies, backpacks. You can see there messenger bags, wallets, drinkware, bar supplies. Literally, it's endless.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, because I just keep thinking. I think merchandise is important, and people like to show affinity or affiliation, and they like to I don't know, bond with people through shared experiences. But there comes a point where, how much can you actually display at a time?
So Mo, if people have their own merchandise, they can put it up there for sale?
Well, they'd have to sign up, and they'd go through the process, and then yes, we would put it up there. Exactly. Okay. Of course, it has to be officially licensed from the band, or through whatever company they work through. So
Okay.
everything's officially licensed.
Okay.
Certainly. But I'll tell you, I just kind of want to get back to RockNTix Live, and Susan brought up a really good point because, and Rick, I think you did too, about merchandising, and that's how bands make money. And what I'm trying to do with RockNTix Live and RockNTix is for bands to actually make money from their music and from their live shows, which seems non-existent these days. Especially, they're on these much bigger platforms and they get a million or millions of streams and they make $10 or $50 or whatever that amount is. And what I'm trying to do is say, no, we're not looking to do that. What we want to do is let you earn the lion's share and allow you to make a living, an actual living where you can pay some bills or pay your rent, not just pay you $50 every 3 months or whatever after you've had a million views. So as I said, the motto of the company is providing a fresh and holistic approach to artist support. And once again, that's what it's about, supporting artists.
Yeah, and by the way, do check out, we'll have links in the notes below to the websites, to RockNTix Live and everything. Take a look at their beautiful sites. They're very accessible. They look good. They're well designed. And I'm critical of a lot of websites because usually you can't read the damn things. This is clean. I really think you and the designers did a great job on that. It's just very clean, very easy to get around.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
I would love to see this happen for theater and plays and live performances of plays.
Well, it's really interesting that you said that because I was talking to some venues here in LA, and because obviously they can't have live events, but they want to start using RockNTix to live stream around the world and collect money, get tips or people tipping and actually earn some sort of income. And I said, it's not just, when events start happening again, they can continue to live stream because some of these small venues like in LA, there's people all around the world who are big fans of these bands. And obviously they're not going to fly out all the way to LA and there's only a certain amount of tickets. But what they can do is stream the show simultaneously live and people can tip in the chat or, make a payment through the chat. And that could astronomically increase the amount of income they can make from a live show. And the same thing for a theater show. I mean, they can only sell a finite amount of tickets for the show, but they could broadcast it simultaneously live and people can pay to watch it.
That's great. In fact, I'm thinking, I've put together a lot of webinars and kind of like, they're kind of technical networking experiences for geologists, et cetera. And it's always kind of thing, people don't want to pay to go in, but once they're in it and once they're enjoying it, I can see people being more willing to tip than pay, say, even $5 to go and attend something.
Well, you know what? That's the absolute key. You hit the nail on the head. And this is what I recommend to venues because they're like, well, how about if I sell tickets through, for the live stream in advance? And I said, you know what? I think that you're going to get a lot more people and make a lot more money by leaving it up to them, by letting them come and watch and tip and enjoy the show and show their appreciation by tipping. And I really think that that's the way to go.
Oh, absolutely. And then they can bring their dogs and say, hey, so snack items for the dog.
So that's kind of the ideology. It's almost going back to the roots of music, going back to how it all happened, whatever, several years ago when things were a lot simpler before it all became this big corporate machinery where it wasn't, the musician didn't matter, the music didn't matter, artistry didn't matter. It was just about the buck. And I really kind of want to get rid of that ideology and say, listen, I know what it's like to be broke. I know what it's like to be an artist. And this is for you guys. All types of artists all around the world. And I'm talking about anyone, basically anyone who wants to make a living from their art, their work, anything, basically.
That's good.
I love it.
Go ahead, Susan.
I might think about trying this out with not just music, but with technical talks. I'm going to sign up and see if we can try it out on some of these talks that we have planned, because I really think that people, once they start saying, oh, this is really valuable, yeah, I think that's worthy of this, or The fund is for setting up a scholarship or rescuing some. It could be for anything.
Yep.
I absolutely agree. And actually, ironically, I have a friend that works on cars, and he's a, expert mechanic, but he just works on his own stuff. And he said, I have so much knowledge I want to teach people. I said, why don't you do a live stream on RockNTix? You can get tips, or you can have, a free channel and just upload videos, or you can have a subscriber channel as well, where, you get bonus content or people can ask you questions. So certainly it's for anyone that has any sort of knowledge they want to impart.
And you know what, Susan? I just thought of something. It's sort of giggly, but you're with the Geological Association, right? Petroleum geologists. Well, what's the first name of Mo's site? Rock. You got it made. That'll attract them all in seconds. RockNTix. Anyway, just thought that was funny. But now, Mo, you've got other things going on too. You've got a relationship with Facebook that's actually pretty exciting. You're technically, now you've been approved, you're a Facebook business leader.
Yeah, I'm part of the Facebook Leaders Network. Basically, what it is, it's a diverse group of businesses where we exchange ideas. Facebook helps us with exclusive tools to help us grow our business and advertise. So it really is a wonderful network to be part of. I'm a big fan of Facebook, and I love their advertising in general, but also being part of this network, which is quite brand new for me at the moment. Already, I find beneficial, and I really love being part of it. I think it's a really wonderful group that they've created for people like me, for tech entrepreneurs.
And there aren't that many business leaders in it.
No, there's not that many, in the grand scheme of things. And what I love about it, it's just such a diverse group of businesses. There's like the tech entrepreneurs like me. There's also like brick and mortar, nail shop, just basically all different types of businesses, food delivery services, that sort of thing. So it really is a diverse group of businesses that they're getting behind, which I think is amazing.
That is good. And there's some other things going on with Facebook and RockNTix, maybe that are sort of in the works. I don't know how far along that's gotten, but can you talk about any of that yet?
It's very early days, but certainly
Okay.
I'll be happy to come back and hopefully talk a lot more about it.
You got a deal. That sounds good, because it's kind of exciting. Yeah, I mean, I know Mo and I talked a little bit about that off camera before, and it sounds exciting. So I'm looking forward to where you can share some of that, and it'll be fun.
Yeah, thank you. I would love to. And it's been very exciting. I mean, the start of the year really brought this kind of fresh, just kind of push, which is just really amazing. I think people are ready to, get out there and do things. And so I've seen a lot more activity on RockNTix Live, especially. So it's been very exciting. And I'm looking for this year to be really just a really extremely exciting year for the company involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and for all those wondering, RockNTix, he has a full set of servers that do all this, plus storage is on Amazon S3 AWS, so it's unlimited, pretty much what this site can grow to. So that's also pretty exciting. I think, Mo, you did a pretty good job developing the whole theory behind it and how growth happens. So that also, you're kind of future-proofing right now. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
that's really good. I think it's really great too that you have the backup servers. That I think that's a kind of a trend right now, that instead of being reliant on the cloud, it used to be like, instead of being reliant on my server farm, I'm going to be reliant on the cloud. Now it's kind of switched around, but I like that. And, yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. And I chose to, especially when I couldn't afford it, to kind of overbuild or build for the future. And with the servers, dedicated servers, we have several of them. I also signed a music streaming licensing deal with BMI as well as ASCAP. So those are in place. And so I really kind of wanted to make sure, all the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed as much as I possibly can do at this point. And so I'm glad I'm kind of, like Rick said, hopefully future-proofing, the RockNTix brand.
So what kind of trends or new directions are you seeing? Are you seeing a lot of like nostalgia coming back, or brand new things? I mean, seen anything popping?
Well, I'll tell you, LA is, it's interesting because for several years, the whole psychedelic and it's still going on, the 60s psychedelic scene. I mean, there's so many psychedelic bands now, but DJs, DJing is very, very popular. And I noticed that is really prevalent in like South American countries. There's a lot of DJs, and that's a very, very popular business. So that's something that I think is growing and will continue to grow. And I think I know a lot of musicians that are up and coming now that you'll see on the site who do a mixture of that. And so I think it's, when I mentioned about grassroots, I think people are getting back to doing independent music in the truest sense of independent music, not overly, because they don't really do, studio sessions like they used to, like for these big bands way back when, or even in the 90s. It's more people just working at home on their laptop and creating their own music. And so I think what's happening is that you're hearing people's influences, and a lot of people love classic rock, a lot of people love psychedelic music, and so you're seeing that kind of infiltrate these new independent bands, which is wonderful, actually. And so it's all very homegrown, and that's how I feel RockNTix is. It's very homegrown. It's just Mo and his laptop and an idea building this all out, and that's what I love about it. Just this homegrown feeling that all bands have, and I want them to be able to make a living. They should be able to make a living.
I think it's great. And the whole idea before where people were not able to make money except for selling recordings, this has changed.
Yeah.
That's great.
There's some music playing in the background.
Yep, that's our music telling us we're about done with time, and it going really fast. Well, this is I'm excited for you. I think this is really good what you've done and how you're doing it, and it should be a great venture. And talk about doing something during COVID where nobody's doing anything. You hunkered down and did a lot.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting. I mean, that's what you have to do. I mean, that's what business is about, just kind of rolling with whatever comes your way and look at everything as an opportunity as opposed to a roadblock. And if you can look at things that way, you can continue moving forward and you can evolve.
Yep, that sounds great. Well, Mo, we appreciate you coming on and sharing all about RockNTix and RockNTix Live and Rockin' Merch. I think I'm looking forward to seeing you have a very successful future with all of these. So we appreciate you coming on, sharing with us. In the show notes, again, we'll have the links to all of the sites, and definitely do check them out. It's pretty cool what he's done, and listen to the streams. They're pretty nice, very professional. The audio quality is great. So thanks, Mo.
It's been delightful to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, and if you're watching the show, please subscribe. This is right now on Facebook Live, and we will be moving this up to LinkedIn as well as YouTube, probably within the next hour. Have a good one, everyone, and we will see you next week. Take care. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.